So on this one, we're going to start with Vallejo Hall Red. This will give us the first coat of 3 on the brick sluiceway at the base of the tiles. First, we're just going to load up our brush pretty good, bring it over and dab off some of the excess on a paper towel, and do smooth, even strokes across the bricks. We will be trying to go a little bit light to leave some of the darker areas between the bricks to give a little bit of that contrast at the beginning. And just make sure that we bring this right up into the corners, and we will speed up here going through the rest. And here, we'll just do a couple more pieces. Again, good even coverage. Right on up to the sides. And make sure to dry that brush off just a little bit between each one. And now we're just going to skip ahead here and get on to the next stage. Here we're going to switch over to Vallejo's Black Gray. We'll be painting the upper walkways along the edge of the sluiceway. So again, just load up your brush pretty well. Dab off a little bit of the excess on a paper towel. And now we're going to go kind of light while we're bringing this one over. Go across the bricks as much as you can, and you'll start to grab all those textures. And make sure also to work your way down into the sides. There's some great texture in there that's really going to pop out as we bring into the highlights. Again, this will be the first of 3 coats. Just sped up here. Do a couple more pieces again. Really get a good even coat, as this is going to be your primary base coat. Get a little bit of that texture brought up. And now we're just going to skip ahead into the next step. And now we're going to go back into the lower sluiceway. We're going to paint a little bit of direction flow you'll see here. And again, we're going to keep on using some Vallejo. And this time we are using German Camo Medium Brown. This will give a little bit of a dirty brown feel to it and start to bring out the brick variants. And again, we're going to take the same brush, load it up pretty good. This time we're going to dry off a little bit more on the paper towel. We're not going to go too heavy. And when we come over with our brush strokes, we're going to start to create the direction movement of the water and general sludge that would be down on the sewer. See, we're not going over the entire area, sticking a little bit more into the middle, and just doing our best to create a direction flow on each piece. We'll continue that now throughout the others. Just to knock out a couple more pieces, again, speed up through, save some time. You can tell you really don't need a good brush for this part, just a big enough one to kind of get that job done. And on to the next step. So here we're going back into the raised walkways, and we're going to use Vallejo Model Color Dark Sand, and this will start to really make the bricks pop as we grab those textures and highlight them coming up. Kind of going to want to have your brush pretty dry on this one. We're going to load it up, really kind of take off a fair amount of that onto the paper towel. And here, guys, please go light. Go pretty light, because you just want a little bit of popping going on here. Make sure that when you go across, you're grabbing all those ridges, all that nice texture, and really make the brick pop out and shine now. If you do go heavy and you get a little bit extra, don't worry too much. We have one more dry brush step that's going to really tone this all together and make it a pretty well cohesive piece. And we'll just finish this one up and speed on up again through the others. Same as before, speed up here, save some time. Really like how that pops out there. Great color. These corner pieces, by far my favorite to paint. Hopefully, they are yours too. And now on to the next step. Alright, as we finish up that dry brush, we're going to give a quick overview. And you can see here in the middle we got a decent amount of movement. And on the sides here, the textures are really coming out. That's a really good piece to show some of the movement going in the middle. Now this next step is going to bring that out. It's going to tone all the brick colors together. So we're going to get 2 more dry brushes going. And here we go. So now we're switching over to Citadel Paints. We're going to use their dry series. The first one for the Sluiceway is Sylvaneth Bark. Probably saying that wrong, but that's what we're going to go with. Now off camera here, I'm just kind of loading up the brush as we take our cheap, beat up old brush, get a lot of that excess off on the paper towel. So we're just going to go pretty light here and be very selective as to where we're going. Again, as before, we're getting the movement highlighted, and it's a little bit difficult to see when the pieces are up while I'm painting. But as they get set down onto the table, you can really see how that's being selective and bringing out some of the highlights. Now, in reference to the paint, Citadel really does make some really good dry brushes. That's why we switched over to this one. As you can really see, it's a nice color variance. Really gives you a worn out look into the middle and really helps with the directional flow. I'm going to wrap these ones up here really quick and move on to the next step where we tone in the walkways. And now grabbing our Citadel Dawnstone. This is a pretty nice gray. It's going to grab the final highlights on the upper walkways. Using another cheap old brush, load her on up, dry it off a bit on your paper towel, and we are going to go light. Purpose of what this is going to do is just kind of tie together that base gray and that dark sand. Make it a little bit more uniform, but still giving a lot of light, a lot of highlight on all that beautiful texture. As we just move across all of them now. Well, one last time we're going to speed up here. I'm going to talk a little bit of nonsense. Really fill in that gap. Couldn't find really that great of royalty-free music. So here I am, talking so there's not dead air. Oh, look at that. That is an old beat-up brush. But you know what? That's what you want. Or at least that's what I want. Whatever you want is right for you. And now that the painting is done, we're going to take a look over the top of these. And here you'll really see in that Sluiceway the movement that the 3 different shades bring in. And then on the top walkways, really bringing out those textures, really making it pop. Now we're just going to set the camera down in a super unstable way. Yeah, get it really shaky. Back into focus here. We will quickly show how these random pieces can be made into a couple different modular setups. Again, these are random pieces that we just had laying around to make a quick video tutorial out of. As you kind of just play around with them, get the general feel that you want, and take your sewers in any direction that you wish. That's pretty much it. When we come back for our next video, we will be going over the effects. So you have a wet, sludge, dirt, and grime feel to this. We're going to be using a couple cool effects, and we'll go over those in greater detail next time. But for now, that's all. And come on by. Check out the next video. Alrighty. Signing out.